Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Woof? No woof this time, but yeah, welcome back to Farlands or Bust. I hear footsteps. I'm moderately concerned about the source of these footsteps. Yes, I am very concerned about the source of these footsteps. Okay, let's actually switch to the Iron Sword of non-importance. Oh, okay. This is an interesting conundrum. So, welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Starting out with some excitement already. Let me... we've had to deal with this before, so the correct course of action will be to dig away from the hidey hole to protect the bed of respawn-tude. Let's cover it up with some blast protection, and then continue on. We do have other... Hello? Hey guy, come on down. Hello? Dang it. This is terrible. Hey guy, where you at? Alright, I might have to just make a break for the water. So let's... God, I could hear his footsteps. Yes, you can hear. Creepers themselves don't make any noise, but you can hear their footsteps on the ground on which they stand. Alright, we've survived the creeper blast to the face before, so... Yes! Oh gosh, there's two! Wolfie! No, Wolfie, don't... Why did you get up? Go away, Wolfie. So we're starting an all-out attack, are we? Is this what you have planned? Well, you shall receive arrows to the face and death. Death from above. Woo! Hey, how you doing? Did you take a little bit of that? Sorry, Wolfie. I probably didn't get far enough away, but we have had some interesting times here in Farlands or Bust. Oh, we're out of bones as well. Here, have that. Okay. Some interesting times here in Farlands or Bust. We ended the last episode on a bit of a cliffhanger. All right, the hidey hole appears to be safe, and so does the bed. So that's good. We ended the episode, the last episode, on a bit of a weird one. This, by the way, is episode 342 of Farlands or Bust. It is Monday, April 14th. And the creepers are out to make sure that we've submitted our taxes. No, but at the end of the last episode, I had a crash. Well, midway into the last day, I had a crash. Minecraft crashed. I've probably tracked it down to the fact that since I am using the new launcher, I forgot to reset the Java arguments to give it 2 gigs of RAM, as opposed to the standard 1 gig. And this version, being so old, this is Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, I believe probably had a little bit of a leakage, a leakage in the RAM, and it went over that 1 gig limit and froze up. That happened during the Flobathon. I was using the old launcher during the Flobathon, but that happened because I play for more than 35 minutes, as we do here in each episode, and eventually that just overran, and it actually froze, and I lost data. It didn't save the world, so I had to restart from a save that I had made an hour previous. Didn't have to do that this time, because if you watch the footage, if you go back in the last episode and give that another view and possibly a like if you forgot to, if you go back and watch, you'll see I actually was able to hit escape and pause the game, and it actually saved the world. That didn't happen during Flobathon. It froze before I got a chance to pause the game, and that's why it didn't save the progress I had made. So luckily enough, I was able to hit escape once I recognized that I was lagging out, and it was able to save, and I didn't lose any progress, it seems, but I am heading, you'll notice, you'll notice I'm heading back east for the moment. I'm probably not going to be able to, but I'm trying to see if I can't find the hidey hole, the elevated hidey hole from the previous day because I just want to make sure it should be fine, but I just want to make sure that there aren't any broken chunks, missing chunks in the direction I was traveling. I totally forgot where I made that hidey hole. I believe it was in trees. There's a floating tree over there, speaking of which. I'll probably never be able to find it, and honestly, I've probably walked back far enough where I might have missed it and overlapped it already. But and like I said, it's probably not a problem. But just for the sake of being thorough, that's why I'm doing this. Yeah, let's call that. Let's just say we've been thorough. Careful, Wolfie. Probably to a fault there. Who knows? Maybe it's back there a little bit. Maybe it's over there on that sand or in those trees. I was trying to move to the right a little bit to the north. Whoa! I missed that jump almost. Speaking of Wolfie, so let's just continue on. Let's continue west. Let's have a normal episode here. Jeez, got a creeper attack. Getting all turned around here. What else happened? We're heading east, but now let's head west. Like I said, it's episode 342, April 14th, 2014. There are some pigs we can obtain for Wolfie. And we're still raising money for Child's Play charity over at farlandserbust.com. And we got a significant amount of donations over the weekend. We are up to $732.02. Woof. Woof indeed, Wolfie. That is great. I do appreciate all the donations. We got some good questions in there as well that I will get around towards answering. Giving me some things to talk about here, Farlands Bust, despite today's distractions. I have quite a lot to talk about regardless. But yeah, cool stuff. I do appreciate that. Like I said, farlandserbust.com, Child's Play charity. They get toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. A great gaming-related charity to get behind. Their tagline is Gamers Give Back. And indeed, as Farlands Bust would evidence, indeed they do. Indeed they do. Haha. But yeah, I do have I mentioned in the last episode that April 15th, there is a total lunar eclipse visible throughout North America, mostly. And it is, like I said, April 15th. That can be confusing for some people, because when you think of nighttime stuff, you're like, oh, like the night of April 15th? No. Technically, tonight, the 14th, the sun sets. Past midnight is the 15th. That is when the lunar eclipse starts. So stay up late tonight, the 14th, into the 15th, the morning of the 15th, because it's quite late, and we actually here in Chicago have a storm system going through, and we're actually expecting snow. Wasn't I just talking about last week that it was sunny and 60 degrees and spring had arrived? No. We are expecting snow, so even if I did want to stay up past 2, 3 a.m. to catch it in my time zone, probably not going to be able to, because the clouds will be clouding up our view, if you will. So, unfortunately, no lunar eclipse for me, but they happen relatively frequently, so hopefully I'll be able to see one eventually here. I've seen one before many times, but not recently with my newfound collection of telescopes, and ever since I got back into astronomy, I haven't had a chance to enjoy a lunar eclipse. There have been a few partials, where it's really hard to really tell, but the total eclipses, like I said, are really cool because it darkens the moon and it turns a really awesome deep red color. So yeah, it starts at 2 a.m. Eastern Time, and the totality actually begins at 3 a.m., which is midnight Pacific Time. So if you're on the West Coast, that's a cool little structure. If you're on the West Coast, I should have just stayed back at that hidey hole that I just came out of. Oh, Wolfie! God, it's stuck under the boat. Yeah, so if you're on the Mountain Time on the West Coast, definitely a little bit more prime time viewing for you guys, as opposed to us here in Central and on the East Coast. It's gonna be an early morning if you want to catch that lunar eclipse. So check that out. Hopefully I have garnered enough interest in the astronomies and stuff. Stay up late. Watch an eclipse. Build an elevated hidey hole. That sort of thing. Bloop. Is it? Oh, it's a full moon here tonight. In Farland's Bust World. I don't think there were there? I don't think there were moon phases in this version of the game. Are there? It looks like there is, kind of. Yeah, it is kind of a moon phase. I'll have to pay attention to the next night. But let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And a moon phaseness. I am unfazed by the moon. Indeed. Let's continue on. Another kind of nugget of space news. I mentioned a while ago, actually last season, that there was a NASA social. These events where NASA invites social media participants, behind the scenes kind of press access to events and launches, but there was one for SpaceX launch of their Falcon 9 and a new Dragon capsule to the International Space Station. It got delayed. The social took place, and they had tours and whatnot, and I believe there was at least one Farlander who sent me a message, a reply on Twitter saying that they learned about it via Farland's Bust, and they got chosen, and they were there. But the launch got delayed, but it's been rescheduled, and it is so far so good and go for launching today, the 14th, at 4:58 p.m. Eastern Time, which is probably, depending on how fast I can get this episode up, probably past when this episode is live. I usually schedule, probably at least 2 minutes. 2 minutes past. I try to schedule these episodes for 5 p.m. Eastern Time. But yeah, this one's going to launch at, or actually, no, maybe even an hour. I don't know when I schedule these episodes. But regardless, you've probably missed it, unless you're following me on Twitter. I usually retweet the links and the live feeds. But yeah, the SpaceX, a new Dragon capsule, is heading as a resupply mission to the International Space Station, being launched today out of Florida, and they invited, as part of the social, the NASA tweet-up thing, they invite back the participants for the rescheduled launch to get an up-close view of that. So that's very cool. Like I mentioned, and for those of you who've been around a while, I was part of a NASA social for the first SpaceX Dragon launch to the International Space Station, but unfortunately, it got scrubbed in the final seconds of the countdown, and I was unable to stick around Florida for the additional, I think it launched like 3 or 4 days later, or 2, maybe it was 2 days later. Either way, I missed the launch, but I got to see the whole thing up and close. But the cool thing about today's launch is that on this, they're flying an upgraded Falcon 9, and they've actually attached the prototype landing legs, the landing struts, which are have about a 60-foot span that they're going to test. They're not going to land the first stage. This is part of their recovery system, where after a Dragon capsule or whatever is launched into orbit, the first stage will turn around and land back at the launch site so that they can reuse the first stage, which is normally just ditched in the ocean. This one is still going to be ditched in the ocean, but they're actually going to be testing the system of deploying the landing legs, and I believe they're also going to attempt to see how the reignition of the engine and see about slowing it down. I'm not sure if they're going to go for a full hover and like mock landing at sea, but it's going to be kind of their first test of this system, which is very cool. It's very strange looking to see on the side of all these cactuses. You are a danger to Wolfie, and myself in some capacity. Ooh, this looks like it wants to. Hey, that didn't work at all. Boo, sand, boo. So yeah, that's very cool. Like I said, happened at 4:58 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's 3:58 Central Time, my current time. Indeed. So yeah, cool stuff. A lot of stuff happening today. We've got the, like I said, a launch and an eclipse. Let me just get to some donor questions. Not that much else I've noticed happening in the specific news. It's kind of a quiet weekend. A lot of the Mindcrack and other YouTubers were at PAX East this weekend in Boston. So a little bit quiet on the Eastern frontier, but let's get to some questions. Like I said, we raised like $200 over the weekend for Child's Play charity, and some of those came with questions. An anonymous donor asked, "Are you a fan of the Portal games, Half-Life games, or any other Valve titles?" I am. I played the first Portal. I tried to play the first Half-Life. I had the first Half-Life on PlayStation. PlayStation 2? Probably the PlayStation 2, because I didn't, at that time, have a gaming PC. I didn't have an internet connection, and I remember I wanted to play Half-Life, but I couldn't, because that's when they first kind of announced Steam, and it required an internet connection all the time, and I did not have such a thing. But yeah, I played it on the PlayStation. I got stuck. I never finished it. So I suppose not in the sense where I don't understand personally the hype behind people wanting Half-Life 3. It's kind of, it might get to the point where you're starting to ask for, you know, everybody was hyping and waiting for Duke Nukem to return, so careful what you ask for, I suppose. But yeah, I'm a fan. Obviously Valve was pretty cool. I liked Portal. Played the first one, haven't played the second one. I own all these games. It's one of those games I got on Steam sale when they were like $2. I got all the Half-Life anthology, which includes all the add-ons and expansions and Half-Life 2s and all this other stuff, as well as Portals. But I never installed them. They're those games you buy on Steam, but they just clutter up your inventory. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'm a fan, but I'm not like, I don't play them. They seem like good games, but I suppose because they are on the first-person shootery side of things, I don't quite get as interested in those as other games. But yeah, so that's kind of my history with the Valve titles. And I tried, like, very briefly playing Team Fortress 2, but never, you know, again, first-person shooters, never, especially competitive PvP first-person shooters, even lower on the scale of types of games that I play. So, yeah, interesting question, but nope, not hugely. I'm sure they're fine games. They seem like well-made games, but I just personally don't play them. From Trevor, how long does it take to make every episode of Far Lands or Bust? Well, obviously, the recording part here is, except for the case where I have technical difficulties, like the last episode, is pretty much recorded uncut and the straight 35 or so minutes, but I'm trying to think. I have to back up the Far Lands or Bust world, which obviously is a little bit of a passive thing. I check up on the donations. I have my notes with all the questions and the charity levels and any other notes on topics I want to talk about. You know, there's probably like, I don't know, was that about a half hour or to an hour of prep time? Then there is the recording part of it. So let's just call that an hour. Prep and recording is about an hour. There is editing. I do some editing, audio. I do some audio editing, and then I mix that and bring that into the video editing software. That maybe takes. It used to take longer. Obviously, I used to have a lot more edits, and I had funny overlays or snarky yellow text. And in the effort to be a little bit more streamlined and in trying to accommodate more content on my channel than just Far Lands or Bust, those have kind of fallen by the wayside, and I apologize for those of you who are big fans of that, but it's a little bit more of a streamlined process now where then I can do processing, and that's kind of the part that is kind of dead time for me, is processing, or rendering, I suppose is the technical word. Rendering the final file takes, it's about 1-to-1. For some reason, it's kind of slowed down recently, and I don't know why. My video processing. So this is like a 35-minute episode. It probably takes about 40 minutes to render. And that's the time, since it's rendering and taking up CPU and GPU power, I really can't record or do much else on the computer. And then I upload. Gotta make a thumbnail, which is pretty streamlined now. Got to, what's really not streamlined is making the end card. The end card, for those of you who watched the end of the episode, there's an end card that has links and subscribe and links to other videos of interest. YouTube doesn't make that easy, putting annotations. You have to recreate that every single time and specify when each one starts and ends to the specific second. And that's a little bit annoying, but that takes a little bit of time. So I don't know. So I had like an hour of prep and recording, maybe another hour of editing and rendering, uploading. I've kind of resolved most of my internet issues as far as the speed. I have a little bit of a workaround when my speed does get slowed. Comcast, that I can do some fancy pants router stuff to get that fixed. And then, so I don't know, maybe between 2 and 3 hours, I suppose, depending on the content of each episode. Sometimes 4 hours if it's a special episode that requires some special editing. But let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And awakeness. Yeah, I feel like 4 hours would be a little bit exceptional. Mostly doesn't take that long, so maybe 3 hours-ish. Let's go with that. Why not? And, that's just far lands or busts. Things take different times. Like Kerbal Space Program, there's a lot of dead time that I edit out, so I have, those have been pretty long lately. Those have been like 40-minute episodes, but probably I'm playing for like an hour and a half. And that takes a little bit of additional editing to edit out those things that I need to edit out to make it a little bit more. Hi! Good lord. Where are all you guys coming from? Can't leave me alone. I'm just going to the far lands, am I? Yeah, I'm going to the far lands. Kind of worried you there when I stopped to look at my inventory, didn't you? I'm also going left. Perhaps I need to be going right. Where's that guy? Yeah, I see you. You're gonna fall. Oh, you didn't fall. You have okay pathfinding. Dang it. There's no time to build a boat. Get him, Wolfie! These jerks. Jerks. He's still coming for me. And I believe no, he's still coming for me. Wow, you're coming. Wow, he's really fast. That's actually a little bit creepy. Creepers are creepy. Hi, how are you? Now you are stranded at sea. This is what you get, my friend. He's still... Oh, there we go. Now I lost interest. Haha, that is what you get. Oh. Bullseye. Where did that come from? Jerk. All right, so continuing on. What other questions do we got here? If you had the hardware, software, and programming know-how to make your own video game, what kind of game would you make? I've had this question a few times before, and I don't know that I really have an answer for it. I believe it takes a different kind of creativity to come up with an idea for a game. I do like the open world kind of exploration games. I was really a big fan of Driver when it first came out on the PlayStation. It's like, oh, you can explore this entire world and you don't really have to do a game thing and you can just drive around. And then, of course, the Grand Theft Autos and further things like that. I also, one of my... I have another question here. What is your favorite ever space game from Sean? with his donation, asked that, and I would have to say Kerbal Space Program. As kind of recent and probably expected of an answer as that is, it would be. Because I can't think. I don't really play that many space games. You know, a lot of people ask, oh, they say I should play FTL, or I should play EVE Online, or, you know, all these other kind of space games. Well, no, I'm not really... Just because a game either takes place in or references or happens to do with space or the future doesn't automatically mean I'm going to want to play it. But Kerbal Space Program is the space game that I would, you know, if I had to make a space game, that I would make. I love that it's, you know, it's not Orbiter, it's not super realistic. It has the humor, the fact that you're flying these green little men, you know, and there's that humor aspect of it that's kind of tongue-in-cheek, which is the type of humor I like. And it's, it is the sandboxy, explore anything, you know, open world, open solar system, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean, and even, you know, people reference old, wasn't like X-Wing or TIE Fighter, I never played that, a very popular space combat sort of game. And it's kind of hard, like, where do you draw the line for a space game? I mean, like, I just played Strike Vector. Future game kind of takes place in space, sort of ish. Is that a space game? You know, how do you classify that? Is Dead Space? Well, it has it in the title, so I suppose it's a space game. It's more of a horror game, first-person game. Same with the Halo games and things like that. So it's hard to classify anything in general as space game. I mean, heck, I really like Space Engine. Is that a space game? So, but if you were to just ask me that question, I would say, indeed, definitely Kerbal Space Program. And honestly, I learned a lot about, you know, as much of a fan as I was already of space flight and the history and, you know, space station and watching launches and things like that. I learned a great deal about space flight and orbits and rendezvous now and landings and the thrusty stuff and trajectories that I never knew before and I kind of took for granted. I learned by playing Kerbal Space Program, so now when I watch launches and things, I understand a whole lot more about why burns happen here and this or that and the gravity turn and all these terms that they're using, the apoapsis, periapsis. It's, you know, thanks to Kerbal Space Program, I now know a lot about real space programs, which is kind of a crazy thing to think about. So, I don't know. Those are always tough questions to answer. And like I said, since I'm not a game designer, I don't believe I have that mindset. Just like, oh, if you had the skills to be an oil painter, what kind of painting would you make? I don't know. It's kind of a, I would have to be an oil painter to know. So, but yeah, that's Kerbal Space Program as far as the space game goes. And what game would I create? I have no idea. I feel like a lot of people are creating the games that I want to play regardless. So I'll leave the decisions up to them. Like even Gravity Ghosts. If I was deemed the power to wish a game into existence, would I wish that game into existence? I don't know, but I enjoy the game, and I'm looking forward to when it comes out, and I will play the game, so it's a strange thing. I'm more of a consumer of games than I am a creator of games, obviously. I'm a consumer, but I'm also now, I take in, I repackage, I bundle, and I deliver to you entertainment. I hesitated before I called it entertainment, because I still, even this far along into YouTube and what I've been doing, it still kind of amazes me that people are willing to watch old KurtJMac play video games on the internet and talk into a microphone. But we're here. This is where we're at. This is the position we have found ourselves in. So I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouse. In the mouse? Ha! Gift horses. They come bearing mouses. Mouse. Gift mouse in the horse. But yeah. So that was a weird roundabout answer to those series of questions, but I do appreciate them and the donations to Child's Play charity that they came with. And the horses they rode in on. Mouse. Let's see. Whoop, hello. Woof. Where are we? I felt like I got a little bit of a lag spike there, but I think we're all right. Now I'm just really worried. This is about the time and the season that in the last episode that I had problems, so I will be wary of any sort of edits. The jiggly back and forthness is not lag. This is just the imprecision about the world in relative location to my player. That's just, you know, that's the same thing as having, ooh, that grass just died. You know, that's the block selection being off. That's what the jitteriness is about. That's not lag. And I'm not sure what we experienced last time was lag either. I think that was just the game freezing on me. So, lag does not equal jitteriness and game freezing. It's not the same thing. Nice little valley. Oh, this is cool stuff over here. I realize I'm noticing, I'm becoming self-conscious. Bleh. I feel like I'm a little bit out of sorts. It was a long weekend for old KurtJMac. Need to get back on the commentary swing of things. But I am recognizing when I have started to swing left a little bit towards the south, trying to counteract that, because when we last pressed F3, we discovered that I was 60,000 blocks off on the x-axis. Just crazy. Oh, nice little clearing here with a field of clouds. A field of clouds? Cows! What is wrong with me, Wolfie? I don't know, but you're fed up with it, apparently. Gift horses and the mouse? Fields of clouds? I think I looked up and saw the clouds and meant to say cows, but said clouds. The brain is a complicated, mushy, gray organ that sometimes doesn't work in my own skull, but come over here, Wolfie. Yep, have a seat. Whoop. Let's do that as a torch. I'll give you a torch as well. Although, actually, there we go. I don't want it to occupy the same block as you. I don't know what that means. God, chickens. I'm very paranoid about creepers. The chickens. I hope this chicken doesn't join me in here like that other one did. Don't do it! Alright. Have a good night, Wolfie. We will see you in the morning. And I will thank everybody for their questions, for giving me things to talk about, obviously, here in Far Lands or Bust. The journey continues. This has been episode 342. Yikes, it almost feels like yesterday I was doing episode 300, and already we're halfway through the 300s, it seems. Let's make a bed. Bing, bong, boom. Oh, let's actually make 3 beds. That's what I do. Hope if you are in the northern hemisphere here, well, I don't know if it's limited to the northern hemisphere, but North America here, and you are able to enjoy the lunar eclipse, you can do so tonight. Let me know how that goes, because I will be missing it. Clouds. I think we have everything we need here. Yeah, we're all done. And, yeah, I do appreciate your continued support for Far Lands or Bust, farlandsorbust.com. You can keep donating your Child's Play charity. My name is Kurt. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. Whoop, let's get out the diamond sword of spawn point in this before people freak out that I lost it. It's right here. I will see you next time.